haven't gone live in a while, and I thought I'd bring you with me and chit chat a little while I'm putting on my makeup for the day. So I've done my skin prep so far, and I've moisturized, and I put my sunscreen on. I use a tinted moisturizer. And I thought I'd just talk to you a little bit about Mother's Day. You know, Mother's Day is hard for a lot of people. I lost my mom a few years ago, and I miss her every year. And I have all these memories of what Mother's Day was like growing up as a kid. And we always made a big deal about it. You know, mom and grandma and even my great grandmother, when I was really little, we would all go out to breakfast on Sunday. We'd be one of the many people in line filling up the restaurants on a Sunday morning, and we'd make a big deal about them. They'd all get gifts. They wouldn't lift a finger all day. They'd be pampered all day. And my kids don't live close. And so I'm not going to get the same treatment. I'm here by myself. I don't have my mom anymore. I don't have my grandma anymore. So I never got to be in that group of moms that were celebrated. And, you know, I got divorced when my kids were pretty little. And I usually didn't even have them for Mother's Day because they lived in California and I lived in Arkansas. And they would come on their breaks, but Mother's Day isn't one of their school breaks, so I wouldn't get them usually. So, you know, now that they're grown and they have kids of their own, and my son's in Missouri and my daughter's in Virginia Beach, you know, if I hear from them, I get a call. It's a good day. And I'm not complaining. I did hear from both of them. But I have friends. You know, I have one of my friends out here. She lost her mom as a little girl. So Mother's Day is always kind of sad for her because she gets on Facebook and she sees everybody having a good time with their moms and celebrating. And she doesn't have any kids of her own. She never had kids. She wanted them, but she couldn't. Things didn't work out. So she never became a mom. So she's got I've never been a mom, and I'm surrounded by all these moms. That's Betty. She's barking at the neighbors. And, you know, my mom's gone. I had great experiences with mine, but she's gone now. And my kids are off doing their own thing, as they should. You know, that's what I raised them to do. But I still miss them. You know, I love hearing from them. And I love it when they visit. And I need to get on a plane and visit more. And that's a whole other topic right now. I've got to renew my passport, and I've got to get a real ID, or I'm not going anywhere. But, you know, one of my best friends, she's got 3 kids. They're good kids. They're also, you know, they moved away. When they went to college, they all moved and went out of state colleges. And when they graduated from college, they didn't come back. You know, they had seen a little bit of the world, and they liked it, and they were on their adventures, and they stayed gone. And she has really struggled as an empty nester. And she always dotes on her kids. She always spends a lot of money on their presents and their gifts. All of her kids have jobs. They're all working. They're all taking care of themselves. They're all independent, lovely humans. She heard from all of them on Mother's Day, but this was the first time they didn't get her anything. And she was really upset. You know, she was hurt that, you know, she spends so much money on gifts, which is her decision, not theirs. And she thought they should have gotten her something. And, you know, maybe you're in the same boat. Maybe your kids didn't live up to your expectations in some way. Maybe they didn't call. Maybe they didn't get you a gift. Maybe they didn't take you out to breakfast. Maybe you don't even talk to your kids. You know, we all have different situations. Maybe you don't have kids. But this is for the people who have kids and who have expectations. And I just wanted to talk to you a little bit like I did with my girlfriend. and say, you know, we're lucky. I mean, we have a right to feel the way we feel, and I'm not trying to take that away. But when it no longer serves you and it doesn't make your life better, you have a choice. And you can choose to be happy and to be grateful and to lower and to maybe change your expectations because we can. It's a choice. Everything that we every reaction that we have, it's a choice. I mean, we're not working on autopilot. We're not compelled to expect certain things or feel certain ways. Those are all choices that we make every day. And what I told her was, you know, not to minimize what she's feeling, but, you know, not be so attached to the outcomes and not take things so personally because it doesn't do her any good. Not that it's wrong, not that she doesn't have a right to feel that way, but it's just not serving her. It's ruining her day. You know, she called me on Mother's Day. It was probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and she was on the West Coast at the time as well. And I just said, this isn't doing you any good. You know, I'm not trying to say you shouldn't feel the way you feel, because we all feel the way we feel and we have a right to feel that way. But if it's not doing you any good, maybe you can let it go. You know, maybe you can focus on something else. You know, I told her, you need something outside of your kids to focus on. You need a hobby or a passion or a purpose separate from your children. Your children are grown. They're doing well. They're thriving the way you raised them to thrive. They've, you know, her children, they've all graduated from college. They've all got good jobs. They did call their mother. Turns out yesterday they called her and they realized that they hadn't gotten her anything, and they're going to take her out to dinner. When one of them, well, they're not all going to take her out to dinner, but one is coming to visit next week, and so they're going to pitch in and cover the dinner cost, and they're going to do something. Now, she thought that, you know, she's a vegetarian and it's hard for her to eat out in public because there's so few things that she enjoys that she can eat. But she's like, great, so they're taking me to dinner, so I'm going to have pasta somewhere, and that'll be my Mother's Day gift. And it's like, girl, you talk to your kids. I mean, things could be so much worse. And I know that that's not always helpful, but things could always be worse. And what's the point in belly aching about a pretty good situation? I mean, I know people who haven't talked to their kids in 10 years. And, you know, that's true, but, you know, their experience doesn't diminish yours. And all I'm saying is, if your Mother's Day wasn't everything you wanted it to be, is that really your kid's fault? Or is it yours? Because you expected more than they wanted to give? Would you want a gift from somebody who didn't have the money or didn't really think about it? I mean, do you want to guilt trip them into it? Do you want to spend time with people that don't want to spend time with you? I mean, that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that at a certain age, when your kids are grown and they're independent and they're doing well and they're not in jail and they're not homeless and they're not sleeping on your couch because they can't fend for themselves, maybe it's time to take up a hobby. And I might get some hate for that, but that's just how I see it. And I love hearing from my kids. When I do hear from them, it's not nearly as often as I would like. But who does? Who does hear from their kids as often as they would like? I mean, other than the people who have their kids camped out and can't get them free. But, I mean, I would love to hear from my kids more, but they're all doing well. My son just bought a house. I talked to him yesterday, and he's doing good, you know? He and his wife are happy. The kids are happy. That's all I want. That's all I want for my kids. I want them to be happy and thriving and adulting, because I won't be around forever. You know, I would like to spend more time with them. I would always like to spend more time with them. But I'm proud of them and they're doing well. And so if you had a rough Mother's Day, it's the Tuesday after Mother's Day, it's over. Put it in the past, put it in the rear view, you know, let it go and move on, because the clock is ticking and you don't have an unlimited amount of time. And if your kids have flown the coop and they're doing well, it's your time to shine. It's your time to figure out, okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to do now that you can? You know, we spend so many years raising these children and loving them, and we'll always love them and we'll always be there for them. But what are you going to do for yourself? I hope you have a great day. Oh, and I'm not even done with my makeup because I've just been chatting. So let's finish the makeup. What have I been putting on so far? I put on, not this. What I put on my face so far was this L'Oreal Serum Foundation. It's got an SPF 50, I think, on it. I like that it has an extra SPF. And I put on this under my eyes. This helps keep your concealer from creasing. It's a eyeball. And then my concealer was the L'Oreal True Match. I don't know that this is my forever concealer, but I like it so far. And then my blush was the L'Oreal Lumi Blush. Bronzer was from the dollar store. From my dollar store haul I did a few weeks back. Now it's time to find my eyebrows. And I'm using this L'Oreal pencil. I like that it's retractable and I don't have to sharpen it, and then it's got a spoolie on the other end. But yeah, I think with Mother's Day, we just got to give those kids a break. Because, you know, I go back and I have all these lovely memories as a kid of Mother's Day. And as a grown woman, you know, there were years that I sent my mom gifts and flowers and called her and was a good daughter. And there were years that I was broke, and I would call her and say, "Hey, Mom, you know, I'm broke this year, but I love you, and I hope you have a great Mother's Day." And my mom was always so gracious about whatever she got. You know, there would be times when I'd go 3 months at a time, and I would get so caught up in my own life that I wouldn't call her. And now if my kids do that, I'm brokenhearted. But I know I did it to my own mother, and my mom took it. She didn't. Now, if she hadn't heard from me in 3 months, she wasn't as happy or as gracious. But I always knew my mom was there for me. And she was. She was always there for me. And I hope my kids know that I'm always here for them. Now, you know, I may not have money to pass out. I may live frugally, but there's always a bed here. I've got a spare room. If they needed a home, they could come live with me. Maybe not forever, but I think they would want to move out before I would want to kick them out. But there's always a spot for my kids, and I would be there emotionally for them, whatever they needed, always. And you know, I'm lucky. I have good kids. And I'm not complaining. And as for my grandchildren, I really struck gold there. I've got the best grandchildren in the world. Nobody has nicer grandchildren. They are the sweetest, most perfect little humans. So my kids must be doing something right, because I've got really good grandchildren from both of them. So Izzy, if you're watching this, you were the first. And I love you guys so much. Sometimes my oldest grandchild watches my videos, and she won't ever comment on them because she doesn't want to get made fun of at school. But she'll text me. I'm going to keep it pretty. I'm really going to keep it pretty simple today with the makeup. It's a work day, and I'm just not in the mood to do a whole huge amount of anything on my face today. So what's left? This eyeliner is either from Temu or the dollar store. I can't remember. I can't see. Let's see. Eyeliner, it's brown. It's a name I can't pronounce, so it's probably Temu. You know, this tight lining looks so good when it's done right. How many more years is it going to take me to figure out how to do it right? It feels like I just get it in the waterline and it doesn't do anything. So I don't know if I've got the wrong products or if I'm going too close to my eyeball. It just doesn't seem to stick. So I don't know about all that. And I try not to do the eyeliner the old school way, where we look like raccoons. But a little bit of eyeliner when your eyelashes are thinning is a lovely thing. Oh, mascara. But I'm almost done here. My eyes have been watering so much lately. I don't know if it's the sunscreen I'm using or if it's allergies. It's probably the sunscreen I'm using. But it normally doesn't do that. Maybe I'm getting my foundation too close to my eyes. But yesterday my eyes just ran all day. And I feel like I've got watery eye coming on now too. Right as you do your mascara is not the best time for your eyes to start gushing. Now, I don't know if I have comments turned on or off, but I'm new to this live thing and I can't see them. So if you're commenting and I'm not responding, I'm sorry. I just can't see it. I'm not even sure if I'm really live. And my eyes are going nuts now. Ooh. Yeah, I got something in there. Maybe it's the eyeliner. Oof. Hold on. just did my eye makeup and my eyes are just rejecting it. It's gotta be the eyeliner, because that's the second day in a row that my eyes have just gone nuts. And I used that eyeliner yesterday too, so where is it? That going in the trash. I'd rather not have eyeliner than have eyes that go nuts. Oof. Okay. Not using that stuff again. That was the Temu eyeliner. That's weird though, because I've used the other colors and it was fine. But my eyes, it's gotta be the eyeliner. Because they were fine until I did that. Whew. I used to love to color as a kid. Now I color my face. This is a dollar store lip pencil. And I'm filling it in so that when I drink my coffee, my lipstick will have some staying power. This is L'Oreal 254. It's called, what is it called? You know I can't read that. Let's see. It's called Everbloom. Oh, my eyes have calmed down. Whew. That was awful. And this was also Dollar Tree. And then finishing powder, I'm going to use the e.l.f. I saw a makeup artist, he puts it on the back of his hand to kind of diffuse it, because you don't want to put too much on as you're aging, especially around the eyes or you get cakey. So I'm lightly grazing the area, and I'm pretty much avoiding the under eyes because I don't want to look like a cadaver. Now I have two different setting sprays. I've got this one that I got from Sephora, and I got this one that I was influenced to get from L'Oreal. This stuff doesn't make my eyes water, and it's got a nice scent, and it just feels fresh. This one is supposed to keep you from transferring your makeup to your clothes. Smells like hairspray, smells kind of awful. And so with my eyes acting up, we're not using this one. We're gonna use the tried and true. And then the other thing that I heard was someone said to put the setting spray, a different makeup artist that I follow, said to put the setting spray just down the middle because that's where you need to make your makeup last the most. And to not spray on the outsides to let that kind of melt more because it'll look more like skin. So that's what I'm gonna do. Just the middle. And that is it. So, I already did my hair. So let's see what my hair looks like. So, there's my hair. And I put this kimono on to keep my clothes nice. So, and I'm already dressed. So, I am ready to go have a great day, and I hope you have one too. Now if I could just find where the button is. Oh, I did that. Did I do that whole thing? I thought I did it.